This is going to be a quick toolbox tour of my Harbor Freight 72-inch toolbox dedicated to Rob's wrenches. He's been asking me to do one. And seeing how Hurricane Irma is a Category 5 hurricane that may wipe this place out right off the map, I'd like to be able to look back at this video and cry into my beer, reminding myself all the things I had put together right before it was taken away. My father's fiance in 96, 95, somewhere back then, his name was Jane Richardson, and she told me that she lost all her stuff in a fire. I think a couple times. And she said, things can be replaced. Your life cannot. I looked at her like she was freaking nuts. I'm thinking, if you're going to take all my things, you better take my life with it, because my life ain't worth living without those things. I looked at her like she was crazy, and she looked right back at me like I was crazy. To this day, I really don't know which one of us is right. But I have to say, now that I'm older, I'm subscribing more to her philosophy that, you know what, things can be replaced. They're not as important as you think they are. And I've lost a lot of things over the time that I've been alive at different junctures. And some of the things, you know, my memory's not what it used to be. I can't even remember all the things I used to own. So things seem important when you're younger. And as you get older, they become less important. I don't know why, and I don't know if that's the way it is for everybody. But not the brightest of notes to start out on, but this is the toolbox tour. And, you know, cynical people like me are like, man, he ain't got any tools in there. Those are just boxes. He was rummaging through the dumpster, picking things, threw it up on here, make himself look like... If I had my GoPro on, I'd open up all these boxes and I'd show you. But I don't. You can go through my prior videos and you can see a lot of the stuff that I do have. I don't know if I have any videos of welding yet, but, you know, I'm pretty sure I've got a video of me using the car charger. The AC is right there, so that's the box, and you see it there, so you can't tell me that that doesn't exist. And the heat really discolored this thing, and, you know, I barely use this. I use this like maybe 3 times. The anodizing came right off on this one. They held up real well on these. I don't know if maybe I just didn't touch them. Could be from the salt from my fingers. But the heat was not kind to those hoses. I luckily didn't pay all that much for it. I have never used this thing. You know, I was just gathering tools for projects that I know are on the horizon. There's a lot of things I've never used. I've never used this. I've never opened it. You can see it's in there. I did have another winch, which I have some videos of. It was the 12,000 pound one, and that's a bad mamma jamma there. This video could be extremely long, and you know, it probably should be, because maybe this stuff won't be here. The first time I ever used this stuff was when I was truck driving and I needed to slide the tandems back, and there wasn't a darn thing, and it was for the Big Blue Screw, Warner Enterprises over there in Omaha, Nebraska. They never took care of any of their trailers, ever. And they were so rusted and horrible, and in order to be legal in certain states, you had to slide the tandems at, you know, a certain distance from the kingpin. And I came up with a pretty ingenious way of figuring that out, where I would measure it from the back of the trailer so many feet, because, you know, it's a 53-foot trailer. They're all the same distance, you know, within a small margin of error, I'm sure. So that I would carry a rope, and I knew, you know, where I had to be for certain states. I had that rope. But I came across this stuff. Somebody told me out there, says, man, you need to get a can of this. because I'd struggle for sometimes a half an hour, and I got this. I sprayed it on there, and it slid like butter when it wouldn't even budge before, and I was absolutely amazed, because I've been burned so many times on buying something like this, and I thought WD-40 was what this stuff is. WD-40, my grandfather told me, is not a lubricant. It's basically a cleaner. It cleans out oil. So if you ever need to clean something, gasoline works extremely well. You're not supposed to use it, but it works extremely well. It's quite cheap and plentiful. And WD-40 is safer. And then once you clean it, you put that on there, and man, that thing will be like brand new. Welding helmet, that thing is basically worthless. Used it one time. Somebody's mama must be backing up. Well, that's all done. Thought it was done. I'm going to pretend like that just doesn't exist. I don't know that I can do that. This welding helmet is horrible. It's too light. It does not block out enough of the light, and probably does damage to your eyes. I don't know if it was a recall on them. I have no idea, but I didn't use it. The welding helmet that came with this, however, worked really well, and I wish I would have had that for the Eclipse not too long ago. I don't believe it's in here. I think it's back at the shop. The welder is in there, though, however. Lysol wipes, these are great. This stuff's got to go back. This is left over from wiring up this guy. I ended up using a different plug, a 4-prong, 50 amp. Those are the stands I got for Labor Day haul. I assembled them. Those weren't too bad. When you do assemble them, the long portion of the angle goes here. They go underneath, and they stick out about that much. And that's how you know you've got it right. I started out by assembling the long ones on the bottom, 2 of them, and then doing these 2, and then standing it up, bringing the 3rd one in, and then dropping this thing in. And you can't even get a wrench underneath here. I'm going to try to put a locking washer on here and then run an impact on it, and hopefully it spins so quickly it catches to tighten these up, because these are not tightened. And I also have them drop down all the way down with the safety pins there, because at their first spot here, I could drill a hole through this. Didn't even think about that. Maybe I couldn't actually, because this is in the way. This is the height I'm probably going to have it at, because when you have the pin in, the lowest setting with the pin is like 56 inches, and that's too high for the lift, I'm pretty sure. But I could fit it underneath the car at some point, and those were bought in order to make this scissor lift a lot safer, which I still haven't used with the exception of lowering this toolbox. So here we are, 8.5 minutes in, and we're finally going to open our first drawer. Somebody's been fast forwarding. And I had opened this one on the previous video. I have a lot of sockets, probably not as many as I'd like to have at the shop. I even have some more over here, I think. Or did I grab those? No, I did grab those. Okay, so all my sockets should be in here. Little odds and stuff. These are probably fuel filter washers. You can reuse these. You get some fine sandpaper and run them over it, and you can level these things right back out and reuse them. They work great. This is my original set that I got for doing a brake job. It was somewhere, I think, just over $200, I believe, or maybe it was just under $3. I really don't remember. And I was ticked off because, man, not like a month later, they came out with this same one, but they had laser etching. Like here, you have to try to see it. And that's coming up pretty well right now because this is 1080 and just the right amount of light. But I've got a replacement here. Is it this guy? Where's 17 at? 17. Am I using him somewhere? So you're gonna make a liar out of me here. Oh, no? No, that's 19. Yeah, I got him lying around somewhere. I used him. I was gonna use him. He's probably, I don't know, but there's, they came out with laser etching and they got a box that's really big on the side of the socket, and you can see it from a long ways away. The 17 there is a replacement for one that I had cracked by putting way too much torque on. And it is so much better. I mean, you can see it from far. You don't have to be squinting, looking up, holding it at the right angle. And I so wish I would have got that. I can't tell you. These guys are new. This is not from this box. This is from the second box that I bought. And they don't have as much chrome on these either. My first set has a lot more chrome, you know, on the inside. You know, they just really went cheap on these Chinese sets. I say this thing does not have enough room because when I open up all these drawers, you're going to see that I have several different hobbies. If this was just mechanics and just automotive, it's probably enough, maybe, especially if you had a hutch. I'm going to be building cabinets around it, cabinets all over the place, cabinets over the top. If I could get away with cabinets there, it would be great, because I would have all my lawn equipment and stuff there. So there's almost none of my ratchets are here or anything. You know, I've got a couple other breaker bars. I even have a 4-foot stainless steel pipe for a breaker extension. I have a 3/8. I have another Craftsman that's smaller than this. This is Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight sells so much good stuff, man. I guess we'll go down the center drawers. Here are my metric wrenches. Again, this is nowhere near as many as I have, but it's actually probably close. I think I only have maybe one other set from the Craftsman that came with the box. And you know what? I think my second set actually didn't come with wrenches. No, they did. No, these right here, these straight ones that are ratcheting, I got with my second box of Craftsman. That was nice, actually. And then I've got these, what are these, gear wrenches? No, these are Craftsman as well. And these are nice. The problem with these, that you don't have the switch, they only turn one way, you can get yourself into some trouble. You're backing a nut off, and then all of a sudden it's getting close to coming off, but you can't get it off. You still have like 3-4 more threads to go, but you're bottomed out because you're backed up to something like a body panel or something. Happened to me on the gas tank of an 88 CRX when I was undoing the strap underneath. Backed it all the way up, and then I was screwed. I ended up having to, I don't remember what I had to do to get it off. I almost had to drop the whole tank, but I figured something else out instead. I think I just removed the strap from the back and jacked up the gas tank, left one strap on, bolted up the other side. I was replacing the brake lines on it. You don't know how interesting you are until you buy a toolbox. When you buy a toolbox and you start putting your tools in there, you realize when you've had a tool long enough, every tool has a story to it. And these guys here are brand new. I don't have a damn thing to say about them. There's not a single story I can tell you other than how much I paid for them and what they're for. Other than that, there's no significance. I will not miss them. I will. Not as much as some of the other tools. Midget wrenches. Wow. Can you even say that nowadays? That's not really PC. These are little people wrenches, I think, is what these are supposed to be called now. That's, somebody should give them a call. I don't think they know just exactly how many midgets they're offending by putting that on there. Let's see. Now, I have another torque wrench All Harbor Freight. I could not pass these deals up. They were like only $10. I've owned these, and these are not the original. I've had to replace them because they've broken. First time I bought them was probably around '04. These guys I bought just to use as drivers in order to press out bushings on the CRX. And I haven't used them, I think, for anything else. This is the standard drawer. This came with the second Craftsman toolbox. This I had to buy in order to use just one wrench. And I think it was the 5/8 one, because I didn't have a 5/8 or something like that. Maybe I did have a 5/8. Well, now I have to come up with another excuse as to why I bought that. You know, I did need the bigger ones, but I ended up not even being able to use those either. I had to use the adjustable wrench. So let's just overlook that point. We have them now. I'd like to get the same version in metric, and then they've got the V ones where it's like a flare nut wrench. Man, those are nice. Instead of just touching on two sides, you're touching on probably four. 1, 2, 3, 4, probably four. Don't have much for these. Again, this drawer, with the exception of this is metric. These are crow's feet, and I bought these to use for breaking off the brake lines, because you need a lot of torque in order to get those off. And they don't come off easy when they've been on there for like 20 plus years, almost 30, but I've replaced mine since then. I put stainless steel brake lines on the CRX, and my gosh, do you notice a really good stopping power. I had a piece of crap Honda Accord wanting to race me and all kind of stuff. He's running on my butt trying to get around me on the highway, and all of a sudden everybody broke, and I had to brake, and I'm always looking in my rearview mirror. He had to lock it up, you heard it, and he started pulling right. I let off my brake a little bit to get some more distance between us, and then had to reapply. Otherwise, he'd have ran in the back of me. After that, he stopped riding my butt so much. And those people aren't worth it, man. Just get out of their way. If you care about your car, let those jackasses go. You know, the other thing is I don't have any of this really organized. I threw it together as best I could. These drawers are going to be rearranged, I'm sure, if they're even still here after Hurricane Irma. I think those are all the hammers I have. Actually, I have another Craftsman hammer. I take that back. I need to get a BFH in the worst way. Maybe a 4-pound, 5-pound. I'd like to get the nice brass 2-pound one with the hickory handle from Harbor Freight. I almost bought one of those. I should have. These are amazing and great. I use these in order to put this guy on right here. And I would not have been able to do it and not mar it up without him. So I absolutely love these. They're great for shower heads. Anything you don't want to scratch. I've got several of these. This is all, I mean, I'd spend an hour probably going through here talking about all the stuff that's in here. So I won't bore you on this stuff. I've got several packs of these. My files. I used to have 2 of these. Bought these when I was an electrician's apprentice. These are robo grips. And they advertised them as strong like plywood because they have all these, they're not laminated, they're fixed together. Keep trying to focus. So because there's all those sections that are put together, they're stronger. And they work great. You know, time is an issue when you're being an electrician. You don't have time to adjust, and these just automatically adjusted. And then if you hold them like that, they lock and they close when you put them in there. I was cleaning out my car, and I left this and a couple other nice tools. I can't remember because you needed 2 of these. It was required. And I went back within an hour or so, and these were gone. I had it at a car wash. And somebody was very happy to be picking these up. Can't even read it on there anymore. And there's another great gem that they don't even make anymore in a box over here. that I'll show you that I had to have for an electrician as well. This came in a pack of 4. There's 4 sizes of this. I don't know, like 6, 8, 10, 12, something like that. I'm just guessing. This guy here has been replaced. He's not the original, lifetime warranty on him. He is Home Depot, I believe. Used to use him when I was truck driving in liquid bulk. Use him to, ooh, easy there, killer. Used him to open up the dome on top of the liquid trailer and to close it as well. Work extremely well. I mean, anything you really wanted to beat on without breaking, this was just the right size. Just perfect too. Dead below, you know, a little maraca inside there. Same thing with this guy. He's got sand though. They're not like BBs. He's much bigger and heavier. That's when this guy just isn't cutting it. Oh, I have 2 of these. This was one of the guys I got for the Harbor Freight haul on New Year's Eve, where Harbor Freight was giving out all kinds of stuff for just $5. And that was the best deal, because the original one I have up here, I paid $7.99 for, and that was a great deal. And $4.99 was even better. And there's some other stuff in the next drawer down. This stuff never even opened. That's for the welder. This guy didn't work so well. I don't know if maybe I didn't have it on long enough. I didn't clean the metal well enough. And I might be relying upon just one of these a little too much. You know, when you watch a video on this, they're usually got several and they're going back and forth. And heating up the metal probably would help too, making it a little more pliable. So this takes some talent to use. It's not plug and play. This was the first impact gun I ever bought. I spent $250 on this thing, and that hurt me bad. And what really hurt me was to find out that the Craftsman one that I have down in this guy here, that came with my air compressor, it was the first thing I ever bought. Actually, the second thing I bought. First thing I was the toolbox for Craftsman tools for doing the brake job, and then I got an air compressor with an air ratchet and air hammer, which I've never used. I need to get an air hammer attachment for it, an air chisel. I don't think I have any attachments for it. But I bought this thing because it claimed it had, I think, 1,000 foot-pounds of nut-busting torque. Yep, right there. That is the biggest bunch of bull crap there is. This thing used to look brand new. It's still pretty brand new. You know, I don't have any scratches, I think, on it, but it's definitely seen some grease. I could probably clean it a little better. I try to keep all the original boxes and everything. I've done so much moving that I learned that the best thing to have when you move is the original box the thing came in. I keep the original box of the TVs, VCs, everything. But that guy there ended up not being able to break the nut off of the CV axle on the CRX. And that was exclusively the reason why I got that. And I was so ticked off. And what I found out was that if you just crank up that airline pressure on the regulator to the hose, and I think I cranked it up to like 130 or so, 120 at least, the Craftsman that came with it for free did the same damn job this thing did. I didn't even need to spend $250 on it. And I bet the Harbor Freight ones now are probably more powerful than that. And I plan on getting the 1-inch pistol grip impact wrench from Harbor Freight. And that thing is probably a monster. It's probably like a macho drill. All of a sudden, if you catch a macho drill on a piece of rebar, man, that thing will grab you and smack you and throw you off a ladder. That's probably the same thing with the pistol grip one. I should probably get the big, longer anvil one, but I don't know. Haven't decided. This is the second one of these that I've purchased, these drop lights. I broke the other one. It was my fault. I was being stupid. I wasn't thinking, probably tired. I think I was trying to pry it in somewhere as if it was capable of bending, and I just broke the glass. And so I bought another one. It was pretty cheap, I think on a either Black Friday or Christmas Eve special. Same thing with this cart here. I bought a Harbor Freight cart, the plastic one. Don't ever get that. That Harbor Freight cart is horrible. The quality has really gone up. They make a much better one now, but I just needed something. That guy there, he was definitely worth it. Harbor Freight one actually has a reclining feature, but now that I have a lift, I'm not really gonna need that too much. And we have some odds and ends here. Neoprene. Harbor Freight is excellent for this kind of stuff. You cannot beat it. And I've got far more of these things back at the shop too, I think. And we're down to our last drawer in the middle. And this is going to be the Autobody drawer. And I guess a little bit AC, and little other things. This has got to be one of the oldest Harbor Freight things I own, that I purchased. I don't even know if that item number will still come up. It might. This guy might be the replacement for this guy. 1/4 inch crown, 18 gauge. 1/4 inch crown. Oh my God, I think it is. This guy and this guy underneath here. I got for $5, $4.99. You're supposed to. The coupon said you were supposed to spend $50, but for whatever reason you didn't have to. I didn't even notice it. I just gave him the code and it worked. And man, I walked out of there with all kinds of stuff. If I would have known that, I would have loaded up on those things. I would have just emptied their inventory. I just didn't know. Especially on those guys. That was such a great deal. I think they're like $16 or something at the cheapest, with a 25% off coupon. I've never used this guy. Yeah, never used him. But I bought him because I knew one day I was going to need him. I didn't realize that day was going to be years from now. I bought a bunch of spray guns. I've never used those. I used to paint cars. Used to be very good at it too. Extremely good. The best paint job I ever put down was on I think it was a 2000 Lexus RX, I think they are, the little SUVs. Absolutely gorgeous. It was tan, two-tone, tan on the bottom with a white purple pearl in it, and it had green tinted windows, and I had to drive that thing to a tint shop to have the front windshield retinted because it had to have the windshield replaced. And I felt like hot, driving that thing, man. I thought, wow, this is what a rich kid feels like. Everybody is looking at me with respect, as they should. And I was just driving down the road, and I was like, man, I could really get used to this. It was just an absolutely gorgeous car at the time. It looks, old and dated now. But back then, man, was that a super car on the road. And that paint job with the pearl on it, oh, so hard to lay. You had to put down, first you had to do the body work, which I didn't do. But then I'd have to prime over it. That's when it started looking good. Then you dust it with some black paint, block it, see if there's any high spots, black paint remaining. Put on more primer, keep doing that, some glaze if you had to, and get it down to where you needed it. Then you put down the base coat of white. Then you put down the pearl, and that stuff is just as hard to lay as the clear. And then you got to put down the clear. If you mess up at any point in that time, you got to start right back over with the white again, and then the pearl, and then the clear. So you could do everything perfectly with the white, and then you get the pearl on, and you mess up the clear. And if you can't get it, sometimes you can fix it, but more times than not, you can't. You got to start back over. And oh my God, that's the only paint job harder to lay than black. because white is just as hard as black, pretty much. But black is, oh my God, is it horrible. And when you can lay it down well, black is so gorgeous. It is just one of the best colors when you can get it down perfect. So having it be white, which is the second hardest color, and then adding a pearl to it, I think that it is the hardest color to lay on a paint, unless you start getting into like marbleizing, bowling ball paint jobs, something like that, or hours and hours of paint airbrushing and pinstriping. Then yeah, you got me there. Let's see here. This guy was for working on the AC. I've never used him. This guy here was trying to bring a canoe, grandfather's canoe, back to life. I think I was trying to polish out a car too, and you know, once the clear coat's gone, that's it. I think I was trying this on the 96 Civic. This was going to be for polishing aluminum rims, and that's a whole lot harder than you realize. Plus, aluminum has been shown to bring on the onsets of Alzheimer's disease, and you don't want to mess with that. This was for the Corolla, and the Corolla has been getting just absolutely clobbered lately. So I'm not even going to waste this on that probably, but I may change my mind. The Corolla is going to need to be repainted, and if I'm going to repaint it or have it repainted, I'm going to go with the Lexus red. That's like a candy apple red on the 2016 RC. I think that's a gorgeous color. I mean, I'm not going back to Corolla Barcelona red. That's okay. And obviously the code scanner, and then this is for the propane, and this is for the windshield. So now we're up to the specialty drawers. I'm trying to think which one's more interesting. Probably this one because there's different stuff. So let's come over here. Here's the other two items. Well, two of the other several items that I got from the Harbor Freight haul on Labor Day, 25% off. This here, I can back up, is makeshift electrical with, I guess, some sheet metal stuff with the tin snips. Not a whole lot there. There's not a whole lot of stories. There's some Corolla lights, and these are new anyway. They're not even my original ones. My original yellow ones I had from electrical. This guy here is from my C556 replacement video, which is the connector in the door of Civics and Integras when all of a sudden your power windows don't work, you know, or they're sporadic more than anything. And, you know, you got your power